Hi, I'm Mr. Pink, otherwise known as Modern Synthesist, and I got some bad news for you. I know you've seen this thing, and by now you've probably also seen this thing, which is not a secret, it's just a Facebook ad, it's harder to find. And I know from looking at those two things, you're probably like, oh my god, it's Space Hulk. I got some bad news. It's not Space Hulk. Who am I? I've been doing Tyranids since, well, the bad old days of this codex over here, 1997. Mostly focusing on the conversions of models, Tyranid design, that kind of stuff. In fact, I did a whole series on my blog called the Tyranid Archive, where I went through the evolution of Tyranids from 1st edition through to something like 5th or 6th edition. Anyway, all this is to say that I've been spending way too much time obsessing over details of Tyranids for way too long. And what I can tell you is that if we take a look at this second video the Games Workshop release that came out in the last couple of days, and you look closely at that Terminator's eye, that is not a Gene Stealer. That's a Gaunt, it might be a Tyrant, it might be a weird new design for a warrior, but it's definitely not a Gene Stealer. Why does that matter? Because going back to the earliest days of Space Hulk, it has always been about Terminators, which we clearly see here, against Gene Stealers, which we do not see here. In case you're not familiar with Gene Stealers, this is what Gene Stealers look like in Games Workshop's artwork. And like this. And maybe like this. And if you look at all those pictures, they have one key thing in common. Look at their heads. They don't have armor plates on their heads. That's something you see on Termagants, that's something you see on Carnifexes, Hive Tyrants, Tyranid Warriors. They all have different kinds of head carapaces, but they all have head carapaces. And when you look at Gene Stealers, they tend to have like a very small head carapace, like some light ridging, stuff like that. Yes, it sounds finicky, but if you look at all Gene Stealers throughout the entire Games Workshop range, none of them look like this thing in that Terminator's eye. So yeah, sure, they could be making a new Space Hulk where instead of putting Gene Stealers in it, they're putting Termagants in it, or Hive Tyrants or something like that. But the likelihood is that this is probably not Space Hulk. Another point that people have mentioned is that this Terminator's armor is blue. It's got a white head, it's got blue armor. And that would make you think that it's probably an Ultramarine. And of course you could be like, well, they could be putting Ultramarines in Space Hulk, who knows? If you look back at previous editions of Space Hulk, it's kind of become a thing that Blood Angels were the faction that were facing the Gene Stealers in Space Hulk. Yes, sometimes there was the Deathwing thing, and if you go back far enough to, I think it's like Advanced Space Crusade or Tyranid Attack or something, you might have some Ultramarine scouts in there. But for the last few editions of Space Hulk, for, what is it, 20 years now, it has always been Blood Angels. And this Terminator is definitely not a Blood Angel. It's got a white helmet, doesn't have a yellow helmet, doesn't have a red helmet, it's white. So this is probably an Ultramarine, that is probably not a Gene Stealer. So all that is to say, the tough news of this video, it's not Space Hulk. At least not yet. Other sources, Valrak, his sources, folks like that, have suggested that there may be a Space Hulk box coming, but it's not going to be in the initial wave that's coming out soon. It's probably something that's going to be coming out later. And if this is not Space Hulk, then what is it? All the signs point to the fact that it's not a Gene Stealer, the fact that it's an Ultramarine, the fact that it's got a Warhammer 40k logo on it, not a Kill Team logo, not a Space Hulk logo. All the signs point to the fact that this is actually a preview for 10th edition of 40k, which, if you've been paying attention, has been rumored to be called the Leviathan box, because it's going to be Tyranids versus Space Marines. But what kind of Space Marines? It's been rumored that it's going to be Terminators in that box. Terminators versus Tyranids. Look at that lovely alliteration. So this is probably a preview for that, as was the one the other day where we saw a Tyranid. Again, maybe a weird looking Tyranid, though I just think that's stylized art and not like a preview of a new Tyranid, because I honestly don't know that Games Workshop cares enough to make the specific Tyranid head in there. They're just trying to show you that it's Terminators coming, so you can get all excited about Terminators. So we had a Tyranid head with a Terminator in its eyeball, and people were like, oh my god, Tyranids, Terminators, it's Space Hulk! But no, that Tyranid as well, look at the head, it's got head carapace, it's not bald with little ridges on it, it's not Gene Stealer, it's not Space Hulk. So this is a Tyranid facing down a Terminator, because that's what's been rumored to be in this new Leviathan box. It's rumored to be the launch of 10th edition in this box. Which is exciting, and that's cool. And I'm actually more excited about that than a Kill Team box. Sure, a Kill Team box can come later, but if it was going to be a Kill Team box, I would honestly be worried that it's like, oh yeah, Tyranids, get all excited Tyranid player, and here's some Gene Stealers, and we're not doing anything else with Tyranids. Enjoy your Gene Stealers with Terminators. but I'm way more excited for the idea of a 10th edition box set in the style of the 9th edition box set, the Indomitus one. Was that the Indomitus one? I don't know, the one with the Necrons in it. Because there's all kinds of new Necrons in there, not just one new Necron, a whole bunch of different ones, with some new Space Marines, because you can't get away without new Space Marines. Also, if you look at like the last last 2 edition boxes, the 8th edition box, which was the Dark Imperium box, and the 9th edition box, which was the Indomitus one, and you look at the Space Marine side, boring, I know, but in the 8th edition one, you had Intercessors for the first time, Space Marine Intercessors versus the Death Guard, and that was kind of like Games Workshop updating Tactical Marines. And then if you look in the Indomitus box, you have whatever they call Primaris Assault Marines. Again, minus jump packs, I know, but that was an update for the Assault Marines. So it's kind of like they updated Tactical Marines, they updated Assault Marines, and then in between they've done like Devastators and stuff with their weird, awkward missile launcher dudes. But they've never updated Terminators. Yes, they did like the Aggressor stuff, but apparently people weren't happy with that. Maybe Games Workshop wasn't happy with that. So wouldn't it be cool if this next edition box, this 10th edition box, is the update of another iconic type of Space Marine in the form of Terminators? First we did Tactical Marines, then we did Assault Marines, now we're doing Terminators. Yeah, it's fuzzy logic, whatever. But that's what I think is happening. And yeah, just to say, once and for all, I know you want this to be Space Hulk. Space Hulk might be happening later, but stop trying to make this Space Hulk. I don't think this is going to be Space Hulk. Could be completely wrong, this is all rumors, but I just wanted to get this out there and mention this because I've seen a lot of people talking about this being Space Hulk, and I just wanted to note the like Tyranid clues in here that show that this isn't Space Hulk. That's not a Gene Stealer, and then there's also Marine clues. That's not a Blood Angel. If we were getting Space Hulk, we'd expect it to be Blood Angels versus Gene Stealers, not Ultramarines versus some Tyranid that looks like a god. That's it for me for now. Hopefully we'll get some new cool Tyranid rumors. I really like the fact that they're doing these previews. I know I did that video the other day about how disappointing this was, and that's just because I was like, yes, new Tyranids, and it was like, no, it's just focused on Terminators and Space Marines. Damn it. So it's kind of cool they did this one too, with the Terminator with the Tyranid in the eye. I like that. But I'll be more excited when we get actual new Tyranid models. That's going to be great. Some people are thinking they're going to come at Adepticon. I don't think they're going to come at Adepticon unless it's like a hey, one more thing right at the end. That would be amazing. I'm going to be watching it and waiting. But there's all this talk about the Lion and like the last Arcs of Omen book, and they haven't done it yet, so I think they got to get that out of the way. And other sources are pointing to Warhammer Fest at the end of April being when we first see Tyranids. I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping there might be a couple little like rumor engine nuggets that come out before that. Now that we've had this preview with the Terminator and the Tyranid, I totally did not expect to see that. It seems way early if they're not showing anything about 10th edition until Warhammer Fest. So yeah, hopefully we'll get more cute little snippets like this and we can talk more about them. But until then, let me know what you're excited about. Would you be more excited this was Space Hulk, or are you more excited about a Tyranid range refresh? Put those in the comments and we can talk about it there. Alright, talk to you later. Bye!